What's going on, guys? Mitch here, and today, as you can see, I've got an empty back brake on the Project Tarmac, so I'm hoping that I can actually install my back brake here today. I did a video recently on the front brake. Super easy process, walked you through that. I'm hoping for a little bit easier of a process on this one because it's a little easier to actually route the cables. So let's get started. We're going to take the back brake and kind of I think we're going to start caliper end first, detach the hose from the actual cable and run it through the frame and then connect it at the top instead of going the other way, which we did on the last one. So let's find that brake now. All right, so much like our front brake that we did, there we go. This is how they come into the box from SRAM when you buy the kit. So basically a big loop of cable. We've got a little bit of a bleed block in there and then the lever itself. So we're going to loosen off this lever, and I'm actually going to roll up the boot on this a little bit just to kind of give some space because there's going to be a 5mm bolt inside here. So let's just kind of show you how to do that. You just pull on it like this and peel that back, and you'll see that 5mm hiding inside here, just right there. So we're going to loosen that off, which it's really loose from the factory. So we're going to slide that on, start running the cables roughly. However, just remember, this guy has to go through this arrow bar. So what's the best way to do it? We'll probably actually start, what should I do? I guess I could start at the caliper, mount that to the frame, and then run the cables up with the little sleeve inside. But I guess it doesn't really matter for me right now. I'm going to mount this so I don't have to hold it. So let's put it on there, and then we'll probably mount the caliper. So let's do that. Now, one thing to remember when we are mounting this, give yourself some additional space on the bar. Remember, when we do cut this cable and we measure everything, we want the most cable possible. So if I pull this up too far, for example, up here, you're shortening the cable, right? So if I artificially set it a little longer than I want it, you're going to artificially give yourself just a little more breathing room on that cable. So I'm going to tighten it up there, but you'll have a pretty good idea where it should end up based on kind of your own personal preference. So let's tighten this up so it's not moving anywhere, and then route the caliper, well, I guess mount the caliper, cut the cable, and then route it all together. All right, so we've tightened that down. Nothing too crazy there. This isn't a big project, obviously, to mount up your shifter. This should be pretty easy. But just remember, this is going to end up coming off that cable on the inside here, which is why I'm trying not to kind of rush this. So we're going to kind of now shift things down to the other end of the caliper, tighten that up utilizing the 2 bolts, which I'll show you here, actually. There you go. These 2 bolts that come with it. I don't know why there's 4. We'll figure that out, but there's only 2 that you need. There's probably 2 lengths there, I would imagine. It looks like it. There's 2 different lengths, probably for different spacers. So we're going to mount this caliper and then cut the hose at the top up here, and then route that up through the frame utilizing some tubing, which comes with the bike itself, which looks like this, around the, well, I guess up the actual, what's it called, down tube of the bike, to reduce rattles, and it's just foam, nothing too special. So next up, let's do the caliper and focus our efforts on these bad boys. All right, so this is how the frame actually comes, and all we're going to do is basically take a gorgeous caliper, place it right here, like so, and 2 bolts up from the bottom, which will actually connect into these 2 holes on the bottom. Hopefully I can get that to zoom in and show that, but there you go. If you are adding a different spacer to this to perhaps go with a bigger rotor or a smaller rotor, I don't think you can really go smaller than 160 on the rear. Maybe you can go 140. I don't think you'd probably have to change this adapter itself. So I would suggest just kind of going 160, which is what everyone typically runs. So next up, we're going to take those Torx bolts, which look like bloop, this guy right here. Come on, focus. There we go. These guys, a little washer on the bottom, and get this mounted up on the frame itself. So let's check in once that is all done, and I'll see if I can walk through one of them as I kind of go here. All right, so we are all mounted up here. Everything looks good. We obviously have this cable on the back here that needs to route inside the chainstays. I'm going to move the camera just to show that a little better here. We can see the calipers mounted up. All looks good. And now we have to actually route and put this guy right inside this chainstay right here, and kind of inside the frame we're going to route that cable up through the top. So in order to do that, we have to take, much like last time, cut the cable off, or remove the cable with an 8mm from the handlebar, and then cut it, and then route it inside the frame and up, which shouldn't be too much work. So let's do that next. And there's our cable. Hopefully you guys can see that. That's how it comes. Bloop. So we're going to cut this guy right here using our little clipper, and then route that up through the chainstay, back up through the frame. There we go, all cut. Keep that hardware as you're going to use it for the stealth-a-majig stuff. Now let's route that up through the frame. We've got our line. Let's route it inside the frame. Should be pretty simple. Should feel it inside the bottom bracket as well. Alright, so as you can see, we are now routed through the chainstay itself, down, and we've got a little peekaboo happening in the bottom bracket. So we're going to pull through this cable, and then basically install this bad boy up inside the frame, over top of the bottom bracket. But first, let's get this all routed through and straightened out. Alright, so we've pulled everything through, and now let's install this piece of foam tubing, just to kind of, may as well do it now. It's probably easiest to do so now than routing it in, obviously, after, because you can't. And all this is, you don't have to use this, it's just for rattle. So this will start in front of the bottom bracket, just so you guys know. It'll start, in the front of the bottom bracket and kind of go up this way. And if you look at the length of it, you'll kind of see it's fairly similar to the length of that. So don't worry about it getting into the chainstay or anything. But you can kind of start here and work our way up. And now let's keep on pushing this cable on up towards the headset. Now run the cables up through the frame, out through the handlebar. Everything looks good, nice and smooth, nice and normal. And we are going to actually snip this right here, just like we did on the other one. And I'm going to walk you through that just in case we haven't done an attachment. So basically, try to get the full length of that. We're going to be adding a screw and a barb to that, so you can go a little shorter, but I always like to give myself a little extra room, so probably around there. So now that that is cut, we're going to take these guys. These are the stealth-a-majig from SRAM. We've got an olive and a barb, and basically you thread this into the end of the hose itself. Pretty simple. I'm not going to walk you through this, but I have done it many times. Basically like this. 8mm Torx, I believe. Thread that in till the end touches. Not beyond that, that's key. Thread it in straight, obviously. So let's take this, slide it on top. That's going to sit behind there. And then we're going to take our little red olive, put that guy on. It's reverse threaded. I don't know if the camera's even focused right now, but it just threads on, and then you want it just below the head. And bada bing, bada boom, we thread that into this guy next, which, let's grab my 8mm actually before we do that. And that's crushing that temporary fitment right there. And a little bit beyond. There we go, done. And it's installed. So now we're ready for bleeding. Piece of cake. So there you go. That's how to install the back brake on a Tarmac SL8. Which is now covered, apparently, I can zoom out and show you here, covered in oil and fluid from lots of touching and stuff, but it's basically put together close enough. And geez, oh geez, we're ready to rock and roll on this one. Okay, next up will be bottom bracket. So next week, bottom bracket. See you guys.